Hey Bodgies and Widgies, and welcome back to the channel. So just last weekend I actually had the awesome opportunity to go ahead and visit Reefstock 2022. This was my first ever Reefstock event, and I was super excited to go ahead and document my experience and share my take on this really cool event. But before we get into this video, as always, let's acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and the people that are managing our land as well. So for those of you that aren't aware, Reefstock is basically a saltwater aquarium convention. It's run by a really big company in the United States called Reef Builders, and I'm pretty sure you would have come across their YouTube channel in the past before. But this event is basically a niche of a niche. It's targeted towards the reef aquarium keepers of Australia. And all across Australia, really cool brands, product wholesalers, and also aquarium stores came to this event to go ahead and show off or sell their aquarium goodies and corals, which was really cool to go ahead and see. Now, I've only been keeping saltwater aquariums over the past 18 months, but that's after a good couple of years of keeping freshwater aquariums. So I was really excited to see what a saltwater only aquarium event like this had to offer. I flew up to Sydney with Sam from Parker's Reefs, who, if you're unaware, is actually putting together a massive event here in Melbourne, Victoria, called the Underwater Pet Expo, which I'll touch on near the end of this video. I was actually lucky enough to go ahead and visit Reefstock one day before it was open to the public, meaning that Reefstock was actually happening on the Saturday. On the Sunday, Sam and I flew in on the Friday and we went behind the scenes for the event, and it was really cool to go ahead and check out all the vendors putting the event together, setting up their stalls, and I was also able to sneakily eye out some coral. Speaking of coral, my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen such a primo, top tier, high-end, vivid rainbow assortment of corals ever in my life before. There was some really awesome selections of deshies, hammers, goniopora, acans, trachyphilias, just to name a few. And honestly, it was getting a bit overwhelming just to see these really rainbow, vibrant colors fluorescing under the bright blue coral lights that were just being shone directly on them. And I'll admit, I had to take a bit of a break out of the event just to sort of let my eyes rest and acclimatize to the real world because of how vibrant this selection of corals were. And yes, with these primo coral pieces, there were also some primo prices, but I was really surprised to see some lower price but also awesome looking corals for sale as well. Since I was there on the Friday, I could sort of keep a keen eye out for these pieces, but they didn't go for sale up until the Saturday, and that's when I had my spending hands ready. So when the doors opened on Saturday, where I was there well beforehand, there was an absolute sea of people that came in. All of those early bird aquarists were picking out all of the top tier primo corals, and there was corals flying off the tanks left, right, and center. The vendors were extremely busy bagging up these corals, and that's where I struck and went for those low end but really awesome colored pieces. Amongst all of this chaos, I went down to the really awesome looking booth that Lamb from Fisher Friends had set up. He had these really cool selection of little baby hammer corals that I was keen on getting for my 40cm cube nano mixed reef tank. I wanted to go ahead and fill out the Euphilia garden that I've got going on there, and I couldn't really add any big hammer pieces because they would obviously just be way too big for the system that I've got. So these little tiny hammers were just the perfect selection for me to go ahead and choose from. He had a really cool assortment of colors, some gold hammers, really cool mottled, blue, green hammers, but believe me when I tell you, they were all snapped up by the end of Reefstock. That's how popular they were. I then went down to the Gallery Aquatica booth where I was inspired to go ahead and pick up some zoanthid coral frags after listening to a zoa coral fragging talk that Anya did from Gallery Aquatica. Just the sheer amount of passion, this infectious craze that she has with zoanthid corals really inspired me to go ahead and pick up a handful of zoa frags, and I'm for sure going to go ahead and set up a zoa only aquarium. It's really crazy because I actually didn't like zoanthids when I entered the saltwater aquarium hobby, but she totally did a 180 on that for me, and I'm just super inspired and grateful to actually pick up one of the corals that she fragged at the talk there as well, and that's for sure coming home with me, which you'll see in the next few weeks. It was also really cool to see the Gallery Aquatica team in person because I do follow the YouTube channel quite a fair bit, and that was a really awesome experience as well. My final coral purchase was actually a little bit delayed at Reefstock. It was actually on the second day as Reefstock was going to go ahead and come to a close. And there's a little bit of a story that I wanted to explain with this final coral. So Sam from Parker's Reef and I actually flew out to Reefstock to go ahead and promote the Underwater Pet Expo that will be happening later in this year. That'll be happening on the 15th and 16th of October, and it's an event that you don't want to miss because it includes both freshwater and saltwater, caters to a massive audience, and it's just going to be such an awesome event that I'm really excited for. And our booth, the Underwater Pet Expo booth, was right next to Nick's aquarium. And I absolutely fell in love with just the booth and most importantly, the people at Nick's aquarium. Nick and his family, his wife Ashton, their little daughter Fletcher, and Brendan at the booth as well, were just really infectious for me. Just the sheer amount of passion, the kindness that they shared to me, being a total stranger that had never met them before, were just totally wild. We actually went out to dinner with them. I believe it was on the Sunday night, the Sunday night, and I just had to go ahead and buy a coral from them. I guess it was a little way of showing my gratitude. And guess what? They had one of my long-time dream corals that I've always wanted to get, and I thought, hey, what better way to go ahead and buy my dream coral than now with these people that I've absolutely fallen in love with, and that was a gold torch. Nick was kind enough to actually go ahead and take all the corals that I purchased from Reefstock, take them back to his shop, hold them for a week and post them out to me, and I'll be doing an unboxing video of that very shortly on this channel. And that brings me to the final point of this video, the thing that I loved and the main thing that I took away from Reefstock, and that was the amount of community building and relationship building that I was able to do at Reefstock. There were so many people that I met for the first time, obviously, that I'd never met in my life before, but also people that I had interacted with digitally through Facebook, YouTube, Discord even, and to see them in the flesh for the first time, talk and nerd out about our reef tanks, our aquariums, equipment that we were going to buy, corals that we purchased, was just the main highlight and the main takeaway from me. So I'd highly recommend that you do go ahead and check out Reefstock next year if you unfortunately weren't able to attend this year, and for sure make your way down to the Underwater Pet Expo because it's going to be much more of a wider, broader event, and I can't wait to see you all there. But if you've got any further questions about Reefstock, the event, or if you had any personal experiences like this that you wanted to go ahead and share, the comment section is always going to be open, and I will personally reply, that's the word I'm looking for, to every single comment that you go ahead and make, and I can't wait to share my experiences with you in the comment section down below as well. If you wanted to go ahead and see the corals that I'll be unboxing shortly from Nick's aquarium, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It's not something that I push too much, but I really want to make sure that you guys stay tuned for the next few videos that are coming up because I'm super excited. An update of the 40cm cube, new corals, some really awesome product reviews that we'll be doing, and I'm going to bring you along every step of the way. But that's essentially it from me. So as always, stay happy, stay safe, stay Aussie Australian. Bodgie out.